Hey everybody, I am just gonna tag my How is everybody today? Okay, my name is Ashley DeMarco, and if you haven't seen a live from me yet, I've been doing this collaboration with Raised Vegan for a couple weeks now, so I hop on and do a live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And my goal is to bring more mindfulness and meditation and breathing techniques and just overall more of an understanding of our inner self and our just everything that's absolutely beautiful and divine about us. So I always love to start with a little breathing exercise. So wherever you are, just find a comfortable seat. Trying to, if you can, make sure that your feet are gently placed on the floor, and you can stack your shoulders over your hips. You want to just create as much space as you can between your shoulders and your hips so that you give your chest and your lungs as much space to hold breath as you possibly can. I know it's crazy as a parent, so it's just so important to come back to our breath. Our breath is what grounds us. It's what connects us with our internal world. So just letting your shoulders relax down your spine. Noticing the rise and fall of your belly. Deep breathing here. You want to pull all of the air that you possibly can all the way down into the bottom of your belly. Just creating a ton of expansion and space for your breath. Four more deep breaths here. Just opening your lungs, opening your heart. One more deep breath here. Okay. So, today we're going to talk about self-doubt. So, if you're watching, I would love for you to type a 1 in the comments if you have ever felt self-doubt. So, this is just the second guessing of yourself. This is the fear. This is the monkey brain. This is all of the things that turn on in our head when we decide that we're going to do something that tell us, not to do it. It's that, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not smart enough. It's all of those things that run, those patterns, those beliefs, those mindsets that run through our head when we decide that we're going to do something that's maybe a little bit uncomfortable or a little bit out of our out of our comfort zone, or, something like getting into a relationship, starting a business, leaving your job, traveling, saying no to things that don't align with you. There's just so many things that sort of bring on self-doubt in our world. And so my biggest thing on really understanding the self-doubt and moving through it is really understanding what our coping strategies are. So everybody has a coping strategy, and many of us have multiple coping strategies. So some of the coping strategies, there's 4 that I want to talk to you in specific tonight about. And the first one is control. So a lot of us try so incredibly hard to control. We want to control our destiny. We want to control our lives. We want to control our children. We want to control our work. We want to control our money. We want to control so many things. And if you're watching and that's one of your coping strategies, does that really work for you? Does really trying so hard and working so hard to control something, does it actually work? Does the control actually get you what you want? For the most part, it creates a lot more suffering, and you take a really long way and a very hard way to get what you are actually wanting to receive in the first place. The second coping strategy I want to talk to you today about is isolating. So this is actually, a strategy that I find myself using quite a bit. And so this is something when you're feeling uncomfortable, or when someone triggers you, or you get into a fight with a partner, a friend, or a family member. This is somebody who retreats. This is somebody who hides and pretends and plays it small. So this is, someone who has big dreams but doesn't really ever believe that they can actually achieve them. So they sort of set their goals super achievable and play it really small. The third type of coping strategy is distracting. So this is a huge one. And if you got to listen to me speak, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, I talked a lot about distraction. Our phones being a massive distraction from our just lives, from living our lives. Like, so many distractions. And let me tell you, if this is one of your coping strategies, every single marketing ad, every single TV commercial, billboard, social media sponsor posts, all of the things are trying to distract you. It's trying to divert your attention in all these different areas, making you feel like you need this, or you won't be happy until you have that. So distracting is absolutely huge. And another part of distracting is bouncing from thing to thing. So you just do everything all the time. You're constantly running from one thing to the next, and you always have your calendar booked. There are people, distracting is the art of being busy. So you all have those people in your lives, and maybe you're one of those people who is your constant excuse, or you hear it all the time, is, I'm too busy, I don't have time. This is an art. And then some people say it's a disease, the disease of being too busy. So that's the third coping strategy. The fourth coping strategy is pleaser. So making sure everybody likes you, making sure you, always keep the peace. You're constantly wanting to serve and help and do everything for everyone else, but you're not ever really focusing on yourself. So at the end of the day, you're drained, you're exhausted, you just totally have no energy left to focus on yourself. which again, like I said in the beginning, if you weren't here, a lot of people have all 4 coping strategies. But one in particular should resonate with you the most. So if you can sort of sit down, and if you're listening, I would love for you to just close your eyes right now, and I'm going to briefly say a description of each of the coping strategies. So these, if you missed it, the coping strategies are the immediate sort of behavior, pattern, belief, mindset that you go to when you face a challenge in your life. Because we all know we face a ton of challenges, especially as parents, you know? There's constant things that come up as parents. I would say, like, being a parent has made me, you know, I was super hyper vigilant, and now I'm sort of relaxed, and I'm kind of on this, like, spectrum of trying to be, you know, like, pick my battles, you know. I have an almost 2-year-old, so it's like, why do I fight about messes? I mean, he's 2 and he's going to just constantly be messy. So I don't want to go on a tangent here, but, like, I just want to reiterate, like, we all have challenges. Every living thing in the universe struggles. Like, I think that this is something that really, I need to hear a lot. I need to tell to myself a lot. Like, no matter how much money you have, no matter how much resources you have, no matter how many people you have supporting you, everybody struggles. Everybody has challenges. Everybody, every human, every animal, every plant. Think about it. Let's think about a plant, right? Okay. So you have a seed, a tiny seed. I'm germinating a ton of seeds right now to grow an amazing tower garden full of 52 vegetables and fruit. I'm so excited. So I'm germinating these seeds right now. These seeds I put in the bottom. They have to work their way. They depend on outside circumstances, right? They depend on the soil, or in my case, the rock wool that I'm using, and the vermiculite, and the water and the sunlight. They depend on me to give them the environment that they need to grow. And if, let's say, a seed was planted in the ground, it has to work its way through all of this darkness, all of this heaviness, all of this soil that's piled on top of it. Work its way up. It's literally seeking the sun. It's seeking light. And it breaks through that top layer of soil and still working its way up to the light and blooming. And it's a challenge, right? Like, it's not an easy thing. Nature, nurture, it's a challenge, and it's beautiful. So I see a lot of people down on themselves because they're going through challenges. I see a lot of people depressed and anxious and just really overall sad and upset about life, like all of things that are going on in their lives, because they think that if they just had this much more money, everything would be better. Or if they just had this car or this house or lived here or had this boyfriend or husband or partner or wife, that everything would be better. But I'm here to tell you that if you keep seeking that next thing, once you get there, you're going to always want something else. So why not decide to live in that present moment, in the present moment where really the only place that life exists is right now? So, I mean, this is a vegan parenting group. Like, all of you probably have kids. We watch our kids. They are always in the present moment. Like, they never leave that moment. They're only thinking about the now, like, especially when they're young. Like, they just truly love and live and experience. It's all about tangible experiences, and we can learn so much from them. So what my roundabout sort of little rant was about is that everybody has challenges. So when challenges arise, it's really important to understand what coping strategies you have. So what is that behavior, that mindset, that initial strategy that you go to deal with your problems, right? What is it? So the first one, again, I want to reiterate them again. The first one is control. So controllers feel safe when they are in control of the world around them. They can also be great leaders and visionaries, but often their gift is used to squash uncomfortable situations. It also is really limiting of your expression. Usually controllers manage your own emotions through subtle or blatant domination or manipulation. And this is all can be very subconscious. So this can be something that you don't even realize you're doing. But I think a lot of us have tried control as a parent, right? Like we try to be in control of our children's lives. And we get so tired of trying to control that we try another coping strategy because it's just not going to work. Like we actually get so tired of our controlling not working that we come into another coping strategy, which the next one is distraction. And that's absolutely huge in our society. So we keep ourselves, distractors keep ourselves busy and checked out. So you see this all the time. Let's say you're working a corporate job and you absolutely hate your job. You come home and you cannot wait for that 5 o'clock hour. You get off work, you come home, you drink some sort of beer, you sit in front of the TV, you're distracting. You're not actually giving yourself what you truly need, which is self-care, which is some grace, some peace, some understanding, some love. So again, second coping strategy is distractor. Third is isolators. So these are people who hide, they retreat, they sort of go into a cocoon. When things get uncomfortable, they disappear. They go through a breakup and you never see them. They, something happens with their job and they go into their office and pout. These are people who just really try really, really, really hard not to let other people know that they have challenges. And this is a huge thing that I see in leadership. So I'm a coach and I work with all types of people all over the world. And the biggest thing I see in leadership is that people who get to a certain level in their business, in their company, in their own brand, it's really hard for them to stay vulnerable and stay true to who they are. They try so hard to put on this veil that everything is okay and that everything's going as planned, and really it's so isolating to live like that, because is it really truly benefiting you to make the world think that everything is perfect and dandy when inside you're struggling so much? Maybe just opening up and sharing your truth, sharing your raw vulnerability would allow others to help you, or would allow you to move through that and let it transmute into something else. So isolating is these are all very all of these coping strategies are designed to keep us safe. Every single one of them. So the fourth one I want to talk to you about is pleasers. These are people who are constantly helping others. You see it all the time. They're people who, especially parents, like you're running kids from activity to activity. You're helping, your husband or your wife, like with all of their things. You're making meals, you're prepping for, you're literally doing everything. You're never saying no, because you always want to keep the peace and you always want to help other people. Now that's super humbling, but again, is that serving you? So the reason we try to do this exercise and we try to understand what our coping strategies aren't to judge ourselves. The reason isn't to be like, my coping strategy is controlling. That's horrible. I'm a horrible person. No, I don't want you to think anything badly about yourself. It's just acknowledging. So if you've done any coaching work, if you've done any healing or spiritual evolution or really anything involving breaking free of limiting beliefs, you know that the most important part of breaking free of any limiting beliefs is acknowledging that you have a limiting belief. So I personally acknowledge that I have my coping strategy is a mixture between isolating and distraction. When I'm uncomfortable, I want to sleep. I want to go in my room. I don't want to talk to anyone. I want to sleep in my bed. And if I'm not sleeping in my bed, I want to be on my phone just like checking out mentally. So if you're on here watching, please let me know, what is your coping strategy? And if you are struggling to figure out what your coping strategy is, then I'm going to ask you a few questions. So, does anyone want to share what their coping strategy is? Okay, I'll keep going. The number one way that we notice what our coping strategy is it really helps us to answer these 4 questions. So the first question is am I willing to learn to live beyond my strategy? Am I willing to take the risk to do what needs to be done so I can live from integrity in every aspect of my life? What do I need to do to cultivate more willingness? So, the more willingness you have, the more fuel you have to sort of untangle their coping strategies. So, someone wrote in and said, writing is my coping strategy, or music or singing. Those are beautiful coping strategies. They're beautiful. Getting your challenges and beliefs written out on paper and sung through music or played on an instrument. Like, it's absolutely beautiful to do that. So there's so many different ways we can shift out of these coping strategies. And even if you don't want to shift out of it, there's so many ways that we can actually embrace them too. So, the biggest message that I want to get across here is that the more we accept who we truly are, so the more we accept all of the things that we think are bad about us, all of the things that we think are great, all the things that we annoy us about us, all of the things that frustrate us and make us angry about our personalities, the more we accept who we are and say yes to the discomfort, the more we allow those emotions, those feelings, those sensations to move through us. The point isn't to hold on to things. The point isn't to grip so tightly to these beliefs that we create blockages in our body. So work a lot with energy. And you would not believe how many beliefs and emotions and sensations get locked in the body. So the more we reject parts of ourselves, the more we push them away, any challenges, any stresses, like anything that's happened to us emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, sexually, any of the things that happen to us in our life, the more we hold on to them, the more we suppress them, the more we like get really tight and sort of anxious when we think about them, the more we're holding on to it. We're holding on to it in parts of our bodies. So each part of our body holds on to different sets of emotions, feelings, and sensations. So the more you can acknowledge your mind and move through these emotions, because emotion stands for energy, E, in motion. So you need to allow those emotions to move through you. Okay. So now that we've sort of understood what our coping strategies are, we need to figure out a way where we can free up more energy. So closing your eyes, noticing what your coping strategy is. And then thinking about a specific situation or experience or trauma in your life. Going back to one specific example that you can think of. And then noticing how you coped with that experience. Noticing if you used pleasing, isolating, distracting, controlling. Noticing what coping strategy you used. And then trying to rewrite the situation, rewrite the outcome of the situation with love, with compassion, with grace, with understanding, with peace, with ease. Knowing that each of our strategies above, each of the strategies that we've just listed are a gift. A core strength that when used consciously help us align with our authentic power. Moving through any sort of emotion, sensation, feeling takes discipline. A lot of people want a quick fix. They want something that's going to heal them right away. But I've done a lot of healing in my life. People who heal others are genuinely ones that have done a lot of personal healing themselves. And I'm here to tell you there's no easy button. You have to actually have discipline. You have to take the time and the energy to notice the thoughts. Notice where your mind goes. Notice what triggers you, what makes you want to react to things. Notice them, accept them. If they no longer serve you, you say, "Thank you for keeping me safe. But this thought, this belief, this pattern, this behavior, this habit, this no longer serves me. I release it." Because each and every single one of you has the power to choose your thoughts, your actions, your experiences, your behaviors. No one else does that for you. We create our own reality. So the more you can align your thoughts, beliefs, and patterns with who you truly are, and what you truly desire and why you're here on this planet, the more you transform, expand, and grow. And that's truly why we're here. We're not here to reach ultimate success and have all the money in the world and buy all the things and we're not here to have material things. We're here to experience life to the fullest, connect with others, build community, support each other. My mission is to guide parents back to wholeness. Parents need to feel whole because they are constantly showing their children what life is like. Our children are mirrors. So everything we do, every belief we have, every word we say, they take on as their own. I read a quote once. It said, "Our job as parents is to love our children so much so that they learn to love themselves so much." Okay, so I want to just give you some last tidbit sort of guidance when you notice yourself having these coping strategies. So for controllers, try not to constantly have an opinion. So when you really, really want to tell someone your opinion, hold your breath, take a deep breath, walk away. Is it really worth it? Do they really need to hear your opinion? Will that really serve them? Make it a point of saying I was wrong. Or maybe I offered you undue advice. Or maybe, you constantly tell people how they should be living their lives. You're constantly trying to control your children. You're constantly trying to control your partner, your friends. Just acknowledging that you're doing it. Say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've been doing this. It's no longer serving me and it's no longer serving you, so I release that. For distractors, practice regular 5-minute focus sessions. So really tapping back into your breath. So every single time you want to grab your cell phone to scroll through Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat, turn your phone off, close your eyes, and find your breath. Sit there and breathe. I know it's crazy and it's silly to tell you to breathe. We breathe all day, every day without thinking about it. But your breath is the most important thing that you have that keeps you alive. Without your breath for 30 seconds to a minute, you would die. How often do you acknowledge your breath? How often are you grateful and send gratitude and appreciation to your breath? So finding that 5 minutes to acknowledge and appreciate your breath is really huge for people who are distractors. And this is really hard for parents. This tip is do one thing at a time. If you're watching the kids, focus on watching the kids. The dishes will get done. If you're trying to cook dinner, include the kids in cooking dinner so that you're being present with them and getting a job done that will nourish both you and them. For isolators, going out to social events that you wouldn't normally go to. Do things that you're passionate about. Find a meetup group that goes hiking or surfing or something that you love and go and do it. Get yourself out of your comfort zone. And for pleasers, say no. Say no to things that don't align with you. You don't have to make everyone happy. You don't have to please everyone. Ask yourself, is pleasing everyone at your own expense, does that serve you? Is that what you want your children to see? A lot of this is super powerful and it's super intense. And if you're going through these exercises and you're watching this and you're actually going through it, make sure you're drinking a lot of water because you're processing. And this is super important work. A lot of people say, oh, well, this is an excuse I used to make. Oh, I can't get childcare for self-care. That's not work. But then I realized my self-care, my self-love is the most important work of all. Because the more I love myself, the more I appreciate who I truly am, the more my son learns to appreciate who he truly is. You can talk to your kids all day long about what they should do, but guess what? If we look back at our childhood, do we remember all the things our parents said? No. We remember all the things our parents did. Because we learn through experience. I'm here to tell you that our time here is limited, and the more you acknowledge the things that aren't serving you and release them, the more space you have in your body to create boundless abundance and love and support and peace and whatever it is you want to call in. So I'm going to leave you with one exercise. If you haven't done anything and you're going to just do one thing from tonight's call, try this exercise because it's really powerful. I want you to make a list of all the things that you consider weaknesses. All of your weaknesses, all of the things you want to hide from the world, all of the things that you try so hard to distract yourself from. Then next, I want you to write next to each one of your weaknesses how it's also a strength. Now, the third part of this exercise is to look back over your life and notice all of the experiences that you've gone through, all of the challenges, all of the pain, the suffering, the trauma, all of it. And write down all of the lessons that you learned by going through these things. The person you are today is because of the experiences that you've gone through. No one can take that away. But if it doesn't align with you to sit and be a victim or sit and be completely just upset with yourself, then let it go. You don't deserve to be held down by things that don't serve you anymore. So much love to everybody who's listening in and who will be listening in later. If you have any questions or concerns, you can check out my Instagram, which is Flogamama. It's pinned in the post, and I would love to serve you in any way I possibly can. So if you have any requests for things that you want to work on every week, or anything that you're going through, I'm here, and I work with energy, and I work with, the body, the mind, the spirit, movement, breath, you know, so many different modalities. Plant medicine is my number one sort of nourishment and grounding tool. And that is why I absolutely love doing this collaboration with Raised Vegan, because, filling my body with high vibrational foods every day helps me heal every part of me. So I hope all of you can find some love for yourselves tonight. And remember, the more love you have for yourself, the more love your children will have for themselves. It's our responsibility as parents to be the best we can be so that we give our children the best. Have a wonderful night.